Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to build a DIY antenna using a paintbrush along with a few other simple materials. First, I remove the metal cover and the brush bristle from the paintbrush. I only keep the wooden handle to use as the vertical support pole for the antenna. In the next step, I use a drill to make 2 holes in the wooden handle. These holes will be used to install the signal receiving parts of the antenna in the following steps. Next, I use 2 tire valve stems as the connection points for the wiring system and also as the mounting part for the signal reflector dishes of this DIY antenna. First, I install the 2 valve stems into the holes drilled in the wooden handle. Then, I tighten the nuts to securely hold the valve stems onto the antenna structure. In the next step, I use long screws that will serve both as electrical connection point for the antenna wiring and as mounting supports for the reflector dishes on the outside. Next, I sharpen and reduce the size of the screw tip to make the installation process easier. First, I turn on a grinding machine, then place the tip of the screw against the grinding disc to reshape it. Once completed, the screw tip becomes smaller and smoother, making it much easier to install into the tire valve stem. I place the screw into the vise and rotate the handle to tighten it securely. Once the screw is firmly held in place, I use a cutting tool to remove the hexagonal head of the screw to create a more suitable connector piece for assembling the DIY antenna. In the next step, I begin making the connection wiring for this DIY antenna. First, I strip the insulation from the electrical wire to expose the copper core inside. Then, I separate the copper core into 2 smaller branches to make the connection process easier. Next, I feed the wire through the tire valve stem. After that, I twist the copper wire around the screw and attach it securely onto the valve stem to create a stronger electrical connection. I repeat the same process on the other side to complete the entire antenna wiring system. After completing the assembly, the wiring system is now securely connected to the antenna structure. Next, I use a plastic pipe as a protective cover for the wiring and also as a support section for mounting the antenna onto its stand. First, I feed the antenna wires through the inside of the plastic pipe to keep the wiring neat and better protected from external damage. Then, I use tape to secure the plastic pipe onto the wooden handle so the entire antenna structure becomes more stable. In the next step, I use Coca-Cola cans to create the signal reflector dishes for this DIY antenna. First, I sand the bottom of the can using sandpaper to gradually thin out the metal surface. After sanding for a while, the bottom section separates from a can, leaving me with a circular metal disc like this. Next, I drill a small hole at the exact center of the metal disc to prepare it for mounting onto the antenna structure. Next, I attach the signal reflector dishes onto the antenna frame to complete the signal receiving section of this DIY antenna. Once installed, the antenna starts looking much more complete and structurally stable. In the next step, I use a signal cable as the connection wire between the antenna and the TV. First, I use a utility knife to cut a small section from the cable end to expose the shielding mesh inside. Then, I twist the metal strands together into a single branch to make the connection process easier. I remove a small section of insulation from the inner core wire to prepare it for the signal connection. After that, I strip the antenna wires as well to prepare for connecting them to the signal cable. Then, I twist the antenna wires together with the signal cable wires to create the electrical connection between the antenna and the TV. I wrap electrical tape around the entire cable connection area to provide insulation and protect the wiring, making the whole system look cleaner and more secure during use. This is a TV connector that allows me to connect the antenna signal cable to the TV much more easily. After stripping the outer insulation from the cable, I attach the F5 connector onto the signal cable. Then, I tighten it firmly to secure the connection properly. Next, I screw the TV jack onto the F5 connector to complete the antenna signal plug assembly. After finishing the connection, I wrap electrical tape around the connector area to improve durability and make the wiring system look cleaner. Finally, I attach the antenna pole onto the plastic pipe stand to complete the entire DIY antenna. Once finished, the antenna has a very unique design with reflector dishes made from Coca-Cola cans and a frame built from an old paintbrush handle. The whole structure looks sturdy, clean, and ready for real-world testing. Now I'm going to switch channels on the TV to check whether the device can receive signals without an antenna connected. As you can see, the screen displays a no signal message, meaning that no television channels are being received at all. Next, I connect this homemade antenna to the back of the TV for a real-world test. Immediately after connecting it, the channels appear almost instantly. The picture quality looks quite clear and stable, showing that the antenna works better than I originally expected. I continue switching through multiple channels to test the signal stability further. The channels display smoothly, and the signal remains stable during use. To test it more accurately, I remove the antenna and reconnect it one more time. As soon as I disconnect the antenna, the signal disappears almost immediately. And when I reconnect it, the channels return and display normally again. This proves that this DIY antenna can actually work effectively in real-world conditions, even though it was built mostly from old parts and recycled materials. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next DIY videos.